Last time on Zero to Hero, our boy Sil finally unlocked auto loot and got some raid collections done. Did he get the ectoplasmic residue for his Envoy 1 armor? What is next? Find out that and much more on this episode of Zero to Hero. So last week we finally got the masteries done and we are nearly done with Envoy 1. And let me tell you guys, first thing I'm going to go for is the heal set. All of you guys agreed to get a heal set. And the second thing is that I absolutely hate the fact that ectoplasmic residue is RNG dropped out of these damn chests. I have like 5 or 6 of them right now, and I wasn't really trying hard for them through the other weeks. Now that it's the last item that I need for this collection, not a single one dropped this entire week. I got all of the chests out of the 3 wings and got nothing. ArenaNet trolled me, and I'm pretty upset because I am pretty hyped to get that heal set going on this account. But after that, I did try to do the Lonely Tower a few times because of the Wizard's Vault Astral Claim, and I think I am seeing a trend with the special tab achievements in the Wizard's Vault. The trend is that if the content is not good, they're going to give you an extra 300 astral claim to interact with it. Don't take it the wrong way. The festival stuff is fine. Like, they give you a little extra to spice things up with that for the yearly festival. But a bunch of Internaio stuff was in there. A bunch of grind rifts are in there. They put convergences in there, and they put the Lonely Tower in there. So I think they know that it's not good, and they're having to coax you into doing it. I'm convinced that they know it's boring. Which, I mean, works because, like, literally I was doing it, so I guess the plan worked, right? But after wiping a couple times in tier 1 with randoms, I figured I'd tackle it another time. Then I went to my happy place, which is map completion. Yes, I know, not everybody's a fan of it, but it really is something that I do enjoy doing. It's a great way to make gold on this account. And it will take this account to the next level because I have 2 legendary starter kits and I already have enough Mystic Clovers for 1 legendary from the Wizard's Vault. But I do have a lingering concern, and it's not something that I've had to deal with in a long time. Spirit shards. I have like 60 spirit shards and I need 200 per legendary. So I need 400 total just to get started. Right when we're there at the finish line, I run into another roadblock, and the only way that I know to get spirit shards is through tomes of knowledge or through completing these mastery lines and then filling your experience bar. So I think the best way about going is to push hard for the Corteria mastery lines so I can get spirit shards when I level up from like doing fractals and like all the daily Tyria stuff. But I might need to go into Maguma because the Heart of Thorns ones with Living World Season 3 is a really easy way to get mastery points. And I'm going to have to do a bunch of Heart of Thorns grind for all of the map currencies for legendary armor. So that would be a good way to get spirit shards too. I think it's easier to do the Heart of Thorns stuff than it is to do the Corteria stuff, just because I would have to grind through all of Living World Season 2, which isn't really lucrative. So a little side note, how do you guys go about getting spirit shards? Is World vs. World an option? Because I do need to do some World vs. World stuff too. If that's a good option for it, let me know. And I apologize for having a giant blind spot in the world of spirit shards because my main account has like 5,000 of them, and I have never even considered it as a bottleneck, nor did I ever worry where they came from because I was playing in core and there was no masteries or anything, and then I would just max out all the masteries and then do daily grinds and stuff. So they just like literally piled up. I've never had to worry about them. Besides that, I also did have the opportunity this week to go on Sneb's last poll podcast, and we had a great discussion. And then the following day, I had a discussion on stream with Mr. Mighty Teapot. This is the first time I've talked to either of these 2 individuals, and it is my first time doing anything on Twitch that is in an unscripted environment. Overall, I'm more than honored that these individuals gave me the time to go onto their platform and talk to them about the game. I've only been a creator for about 8 months, so my mind was blown to know that they've seen my videos, they've liked some of my videos. And so shout out to Sneb, Sab, Darren's, and Teapot. And if you're interested in watching those videos whenever they make their way to YouTube, I will definitely be linking them in the description below. Unfortunately, my internet was dead at the house for a couple of days, which put me behind on all of my real life stuff, but also it put me behind on my playtime on this account. I did manage to get quite a bit done despite only playing for about 5 hours this week. Map completion is ultimately what I want to get to, so I'll probably blast like a map a day and then work towards those other mastery points. Ideally, I can cap out on some of these mastery lines so that way I can get the spirit shards done instead of just having this XP just stagnate. Unless I find a way to cheese it, we're just gonna have to get it done. And with that, let me pose some questions this week and then go over my answers from last week, and then we'll get into the comments. So for the questions this week, we have had 6 previews of the spear coming up with Janther Wilds. We have seen the warrior, thief, engineer, necro, ranger, and guardian. And based on what we have seen thus far, who do you think the big winner is? This was actually a question posed by Pseudo's Guildwars 2, which he has been covering some of the PvP side of things with a similar question. But as far as PvE is concerned, who do you think won? Who are you most excited for out of the ones that you've seen? For the second question, now that I have mentioned PvP, what do you think the PvP feature is going to be? Is it going to be guild versus guild? Is it going to be just a new map? Is it going to be a new game mode like a 10v10 or a 15 versus 15? Or do you even care about it? And if you don't, what would make you interested? As for last week's questions, I did ask about a healing or a condi set, which you all said healing. So I'm going healing. It's simple as that. Ask and you shall receive. Ultimately, a healing set is far better. As many of you mentioned, an established healer with a commander's tag basically opens the content wide open, and you can form your own groups, you can tank bosses, you can do strikes, you can do high level fractals and all sorts of stuff. So I'm really excited to have a healing set. As long as ArenaNet doesn't troll me this week with 0 ectoplasmic residue, I will be happy to be a healer coming up into this end game. And the next question was about Soto replayability. And as many of you know, based on my review of Soto and my numerous rants about Soto, I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I will put it bluntly that the open world repeatable content and much of the instance repeatable content is really horrible. Rifts are horrible, convergences are horrible, and I am positive that they will go the way of dragon response missions as soon as the open world legendary armor is done. Unlike my original thought, the legendary armor did not get a variant, or at least they haven't announced a variant with Janther Wilds, which I think would be the saving grace in forcing players to go back to Soto. So if they do decide to incorporate variant armors into the legendary armors, that could add replayability to Soto, but I think it's just gonna die, especially with raids being back on the menu. If this new normal mode raid is accessible to the wider player base, it might get more people interested into the other raid wings, which will further drive the nail into the coffin for rifts and the open world legendary armor, unless you really just want the skin. Getting into some comments, there's one that I specifically have to unpack. Boo basically shared the same sentiment about legendary armor, but the real juice of their comment is seeing the future of 5 and 10 man PvE content, the age-old fractals versus dungeons naming convention, but it goes further. And basically his concept is this: 5-man content should be called dungeons, whether it's dungeons, fractals, dragon response missions, or so on. 10-man content should be called raids, so that includes strikes. Raids should have an open world variation, a normal mode instance, a challenge mode instance, and a legendary challenge mode, with unified currencies across the 3 game types. And I'll say that they could do an expanded CM for 50-man instance content like Convergences, Twisted Marionette, Dragonstorm, and whatever they decide to introduce. I highlighted this comment because I think it is a genuinely good idea, but I do think it is almost an impossible task. Ideally, unification of game types, currencies, and rewards, and language across other existing franchise is a better way for players to understand what's going on, and it is also a better way for ArenaNet's marketing team to actually do their job, which, I mean, the marketing department is probably the worst department at that studio. But I think this is a great idea, and I do think that it does cause some of the problems with people understanding what Guild Wars 2 has to offer as a game. Is just the language is so different from the rest of the other MMO franchises. And I think Final Fantasy is the same way, in a sense that they call things in very unique fashions with trials and blah blah blah. Like, you don't know what that is unless you actually look it up. Now, I did want to highlight one comment. Mr. Rezer was the first person to hit up this video, so shout out Mr. Rezer. Thanks for coming by. You've been here for a while and I've seen your comment on a couple of my videos. It's usually just a shout out or a show of support, and the viewership, the likes, the comments, they really help with the YouTube's algorithm. So even a simple comment like this is awesome, and I wanted to acknowledge it and tell you that I truly appreciate it. Our boy Encosto says adding a new strike hub each year would be whack for the daily and weekly rotations, and I'm pretty much done with the new hub every expansion. It feels like a waste of development resources. Nobody is hanging out in the Wizard's Tower. Everyone is in Arborstone, LA, World vs. World, or the Mistlock Sanctuary. There's no reason for a new hub every single X-Pack, and I hope that they move away from that and just stick with whatever we already have, especially since we will largely be expanding on existing maps. We could use the Wizard's Tower for Corteria, we could use Arborstone for Cantha, and we can use Amnoon for Ilona. That would work just fine. And with that, I wanted to thank everyone who wrote a comment, dropped a like, and a special thanks to those of you who subscribed. Had this channel not gotten the support from all of you, I would have never had the opportunity to get noticed by the larger creator communities. So I credit you for making all of that stuff happen and helping you to push my videos into the mainstream where more influential creators had the opportunity to view them. I'm not sure if I'll be doing those longer form unscripted podcasts as frequently, but if you all found my takes entertaining, I may be a guest more often. So check out those videos if you want to hear some good discussion about the game. And like the last couple of videos that I uploaded, if you would like to pre-order the game, hit up Sneb's referral link in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on episode 14.